We are recording. Welcome to the PUDcast. This is the 5th episode, and we're coming to you live from M.U.S.C.L.E, located here in beautiful, beautiful downtown Lincolnton in the great state of North Carolina. Once again, this is the PUDcast with Jason and Mike. I'm Jason.
I'm Mike.
And like I said, once again, we are coming to you from the Pud Cave, located right here in M.U.S.C.L.E. Mikey, once again, thank you for letting us come and set up here. Once again, thank you for setting up a studio this nice and just giving us Puds something to do, man. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun every week. I always look forward to doing this.
This is probably, as far as it goes for things to do, this is definitely what I look forward to more than anything through the week. But, Mike, I heard a rumor you didn't do a whole lot yesterday on Saturday. Saturday. You know what, Mike? Before we do that, though, brother, let me stop myself because this week's episode, we're going to be talking about Comic-Con culture.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about geekdom, as they call it. Nerd culture, as some people have called it. But before we get into that, Mike, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, man, as busy that you have been. But the scene, I guess you could say the geekdom scene, the Comic-Con scene, lost a very important person this week. A man by the name of Jon Schnepp.
Yeah.
Are you familiar?
Yeah, I didn't hear about that until actually last night when I got in. It was about 8, 9 o'clock when I got in yesterday from, tearing everything down. Yeah, it was just, wow.
Yeah, he unfortunately passed away on July 19th. That also happens to be my birthday, which is, really just, it's really a bummer, man. This man was very important in the scene.
Yes.
Most people would probably know him from Apocalypse,
Yes.
He also wrote and directed Superman, What Happened to Superman
Yeah.
Lives, a great documentary. If you haven't watched this documentary, it's outstanding. I was more familiar with him with his work on Collider Video. I'm a fan of Collider Video on YouTube, and he was a panelist, and I believe he had something to do with those shows, in the background behind the scenes. So I just want to take this moment just to remember John.
Absolutely.
Definitely given what we are going to talk about today. It's an unfortunate thing, but our condolences, and I'd like to dedicate this episode to his memory, Mike, to give a little bit of a tribute to a man that helped bring Comic-Con culture really to the masses.
Absolutely did.
In a lot of ways. But, speaking of Comic-Cons, Mike, once again, yesterday, pretty boring day, would you say? I mean, boring.
It was kind of a chill Sunday.
Yeah.
Nothing like a Sunday, but here's what it was.
It wasn't easy.
I don't even want to go into that yet. I mean, hold on, because there was another big event this week.
Okay.
That would have been your birthday.
It was my birthday. It was.
Yeah.
It was. In fact, Puds, this actually reminds me of something that I thought about the other week. If anybody has a birthday that'd like to get a shout out on the PUDcast,
hey,
let us know.
We'll do it.
Man, we'd love to do that. But yes, 43 years ago, I was brought into this world, kicking and screaming, and been kicking and screaming ever since.
43.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Getting a little long in the tooth.
Oh, wow.
I'm seeing a little bit more gray and a little less hair. What little bit of hair I got left is turning gray a little bit. But, Mike, it's been a great 43 years, and I'm looking forward to at least 43 more, if not more. And I'm hoping that a lot of those will be on the PUDcast.
Exactly. Well, I hope I look that good when I get to 43. I'm not
You
quite out of my 30s yet. But.
Oh, God almighty. Okay, if anybody has a BS meter, it just went all the way. That needle got buried, bro. I was going to say, Mike, you ain't that far behind me, brother. But, speaking of old people, I ran into an old friend of mine yesterday at the Comic-Con here in Lincolnton. Brian Drum. I want to give Brian Drum a shout out. Man, he's been listening to us from day one, and it was great seeing him, man. That is my oldest friend. I've known him since kindergarten.
Oh, I know. We ran into a lot of old friends yesterday.
Yes, we did.
A lot.
Yes. Well, Mike, let's back up. What was going on yesterday exactly?
Okay. So we had the Be a Hero Lincolnton Comic-Con going on yesterday. It was phenomenal.
It was.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, and I'm feeling it today. I was feeling it last night more, but today still feeling it. So I'm just kind of a little more relaxed, a little more chill, and just kind of taking it easy. But no, it was a lot of fun. A lot of people. A lot of people.
Yes.
It was just a great time.
It was, Mike. Once again, us being personal friends, best friends for God, I guess 15 or 16 years old. Y'all can do the math.
Yeah.
You know how long it's been. It's been a long time since me and Mikey have been close. And as a friend, and also as a citizen of this town, that we talk about how much we love this town. Thank you for all the work you did, man. I know that you were a huge part of this thing, and I think people should realize that you're not doing this for monetary reasons.
No.
You're not doing this to get rich. I mean, Lord, hell, man, I think anybody that knows anything knows you're not going to get rich doing a small business
No.
or doing things like this. You're just not. But it's you giving back to this community. The proceeds go to our schools here in the community. So, Mikey, man, as a friend and as a citizen, thank you. Thank you for all the hard work, and thank you for giving myself and apparently thousands, if not more people, something really fun to do, Mike.
Absolutely. It's not just me. A lot of people worked really hard to get this thing on.
Absolutely.
Everybody from us, the volunteers, the vendors, artists, everybody. We have so many people to thank for this because so many people put so much hard work into it.
It's a team effort.
It is. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen if it weren't for everybody.
Exactly, man.
And most of all, the people that came to support it.
Yeah, I was about to say, and we can't leave out the people that show up, man, and really, the thing about, and first of all, let's also call it what it is. This is our first episode that's non-wrestling related.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We'll pop something in there, I'm sure, at some point.
Yes, I mean we have to.
You got to reference it at some point.
Yes,
it just kind of ties together.
It does, Mike. And when we first started this thing, we were like, we're going to be primarily pro wrestling, old school pro wrestling. But we're going to do pop culture as well, and I think what better way to introduce a pop culture subject than a convention that brings all pop culture together.
Yes.
This is what I love about the Comic-Con culture, geekdom as they call it. Remember back in the day when geek was a derogatory term. Now it's a term of endearment, kind of like PUD.
Exactly.
Kind of like PUD in a way. It started out maybe not in the best of intentions.
No.
But it's turned.
You go back to like films like Revenge of the Nerds.
Nerds, yes.
Revenge of the Nerds. That's the one that I look to that kind of brought it out.
Yes.
And even kind of
made it cool.
Yeah.
It really did. It made it cool because the nerds. That's one thing, man, about culture. I think, especially when we were growing up, we got a lot of that. Well, if you're a nerd, you're not cool. If you're smart, you're not cool. If you're into comic books, you're not cool. And as we progress as society, we realize that that's. And excuse my language, I am making a very good effort to lighten up my profanity. But in this particular case, bullshit is the only words that tend to really do it justice because that's what it is. And that's what I love about Comic-Con culture, and that's what I loved about yesterday. Because, Mikey, it brings all my favorite things together. It brings, comics, obviously.
Yes.
It brings horror movies.
Yes.
Old school retro, like toys and action figures, collectibles.
Yeah.
Video games. We can't leave out video games. And obviously, fantasy. Like Lord of the Rings type stuff, Harry Potter type stuff. Once again, I'm a Trekkie, a huge Star Trek fan. There was so much Star Wars and Star Trek stuff going on. Yep. And not only that, Mike, but it's a community. It's family.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can definitely feel like that bond.
It is
with everybody.
It truly is, man. In fact, me and Robbie McGallard, another shout out. Every week I want to try to get some shout outs and post it on our website or on our Facebook site, I should say, and just to give acknowledgement to our friends. And Robbie was with us or with me when I showed up to Comic-Con, and we were talking about how it felt like we were home.
Yes,
it feels like home.
Yeah,
And like I said, Mike, it was.
Well, it kind of is a homecoming for you, being former Lincoln High.
Oh yes, it's funny you mentioned that. When I pulled into the parking lot, I told Robbie, I looked at him and I said, I swear to God, I never step foot in this GD building again. And only something as cool as the Comic-Con. And don't get me wrong, man, high school wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that great either. So I was definitely like, if I never step foot in that building again, it'll be too soon. But then yesterday, I was like, thank God I'm back here. And right when we
you'd never been there since they made all the changes.
No, I haven't.
And added all the stuff, with the new gym, the second gym.
Right, first time.
That lobby way. I mean, it's
an
amazing time. Just seeing that, it's an incredible sight.
It is.
I mean, it's just a wonderful place. Everybody there was just so accommodating.
Oh man, I mean the people that we encountered, obviously friends. I ran into so many people. It's so funny. Robbie's like, "Man, are you the mayor?" Because I swear I couldn't go 3 steps without seeing someone. And I was like, "Well, if there is a mayor, it's Mike Payne."
Right. Right. Well, no, I mean, I remember going in there. And I had met Mr. Worley, the principal. A couple other times. So I remember going in there. Third? No, it was Friday. Friday we were doing the early setup, and just go up to ask him a question, Mr. Worley. I feel like I feel like that kid again.
Yes.
Just like, Mr. Worley, can I please?
Yeah, I actually ran into my old art teacher. Obviously we're peers now. I'm in my 40s. He's probably in his 50s or something, give or take. And I was like, Mr. Sigmund.
Yeah. Right.
Because that was who he was.
Right.
For years. Then I called him by his first name. As we started talking, I'm like, man, he's not my teacher anymore. But it's like you said, man, those habits are hard to break, and it's also just that matter of respect.
Exactly.
That comes with
I
it.
know, right?
Yeah.
It felt like a kid again in there.
Yeah, like I said, even walking in, I was like, oh my God. And in fact, it was funny because my friend Robbie went outside to smoke a cigarette wearing a Misfits t-shirt, and it actually brought me back. And even though I didn't smoke cigarettes, myself, but everybody I knew did. Everybody wore Misfits shirts, and I'm like, oh my God, man, it's 1992 again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here, because I'm a smoker, and going outside to smoke, I was
Were you looking around?
I was leery about where should I go?
Yeah, looking around your shoulder.
Should I just go
to the bathroom? Man?
Go off the property, or what?
Sneak in the bathroom like
what should I do here? I don't want
to
get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble for this.
ISS, bro. In school suspension.
So,
well, Mike,
it was a lot of fun. It was, and it doesn't help to feel like a kid again when you're seeing all this stuff. Especially the old toys that the vendors have.
Yes. Mike, one thing that I believe we had talked about yesterday, I would love just to have a few $100s of disposable income.
Oh, I know. It's easy.
But it would be gone. It'd be gone in 30 seconds, man.
It's so easy.
It would be gone. So it's almost just as good not to have the extra cash, because then you don't have to figure out what you can get.
Right.
It's like, I really can't get anything this year. Whereas, you got $100. My God, man, there's so much.
So much cool stuff.
And Mike, what really caught my attention, more so than last year, which, let's be completely honest, man, last year was great. It was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. This year eclipsed it so much.
Well, it doubled. Obviously, everything doubled in size.
Yes, and I think not only just size, but just the enthusiasm. Man.
Right.
Just the vibe that was going on was just so... I think the kids use the term lit.
Yeah.
It was lit.
It was definitely lit.
It was lit, man. And I mean, it was so cool. But one thing that really grabbed my attention is that you had collectibles. You had your old school toys, retro toys. You also had collectible toys. But on the flip side of that, man, you had so much custom work.
Oh, yeah.
Our friend Chris Eisenberg with Screwbiter Studios, I think, is a great example. And not obviously not the only example. But, being a personal friend, I can point his stuff out. Man,
he does such amazing work.
It is.
It's incredible.
It's unsurpassed.
Yeah.
I've always said, man, maybe somebody is just as good as him, but there's nobody better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He is unsurpassed. Man, it's all custom. Screwbiter Studios. Once again, if you're listening to this and you're not familiar, go check his stuff out. Now, the opinions expressed on Screwbiter Studios may not definitely reflect the podcast. I was going to get that little disclaimer out, but man, his work is tremendous.
Yes.
And it wasn't just him, man. I saw like a magic wand set up for the Harry Potter. It's all custom made. Every piece is unique. Every piece has personality and characteristics to it all unto itself. So once again, people, if you went to the Comic-Con, man, you had a great time. If you didn't, you missed out. But there's next year.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely next year.
Yes. I mean,
I'm glad it's a year away.
Yeah, I was going to say once I ran into another friend of ours, Wes Wentworth. I know you know
Yes.
Wes. Wes is a geek just like the rest of us. He's going to get a shout out this week.
And he's built like Bane.
Jesus, man. He pisses me off, to be completely honest with you, man.
He is the same age as us.
And he is in better shape than most people in their 20s.
Yes.
I mean, his physical fitness level, man, is unsurpassed. I believe he actually does some personal training. So if you want to get your ass in shape,
I don't know why he doesn't cosplay.
Wait, I think he did some. Maybe I don't know. He should.
He should
He
all the
should,
time.
All the time. Absolutely, man. But a great guy as well. And we got to talking, and I was like, man, I really wish this thing was every week.
Right.
But then again, of course, it would take away from it, and obviously I don't want to see Mikey fall out, at this age, because I know Bill's every week.
That's gonna happen. No, yeah.
We'd only have you for a few more years.
Right.
Before you either went insane
yeah.
or passed away.
Exactly.
But, Mike, let me ask you, brother, what all, and I know, man, obviously that this is a team effort, but what goes into this thing, man? Like, what do you, to me, it's so many moving parts, man, I can't even wrap my head around it.
Wow.
And I know it's a hell of a question I'm springing on you here.
Yeah. Everything that goes into it. Well, obviously, just securing the location is number one.
Right.
And getting the date set for that. Getting the times, where everybody's comfortable with, what times we're going, and everything. Just making sure everybody's on the same page as far as the building, the facility, and everything.
Right.
And then
getting your vendors.
You get your vendors, you get your artists,
yes,
your special guests, exhibitors.
Right, kind of like the Ghostbusters.
Right.
And right, which was awesome.
Yeah,
as soon as I walked up, I see the Ghostbuster car. I'm like, oh man, we're here.
And I tell you what, and that's some of the stuff you have to deal with too, is because the original Ghostbusters car we were getting broke down.
Right, I remember you put a post about that.
And could not be repaired.
Right.
In time.
Right,
for the
was it just too much slime in the engine? That slime takes a lot of time, man, to get out.
There was no engine. There was only Zool.
Nice, man, nice.
If anybody gets that.
Yeah, man. Well, you're listening to the right podcast, If not, then you need to go back and get educated on these things. But
so at that point he had to replace the Ghostbusters Ecto-1 with the Supernatural Impala.
Right.
And we already had it's nice.
Oh my God.
It's so nice. It's so nice.
The
ladies love that one.
Yeah.
And the ladies love that one a lot.
Just
because of the show.
But man, I'm not much of a car guy, but oh my God. I wanted to take that thing home with me so bad. It's just a sweet, sweet ride, brother.
Well, see, I was more excited probably for the Jurassic Park Jeep.
That was awesome.
Just because
that was cool, man.
I love the movies. I love Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's my thing, man.
But the Jurassic Park ones, that's pretty dang awesome.
That was cool as well, man. And of course, we had the inflatable Stay Puft Marshmallow, man.
Yes.
That's the first thing
that
we
was
saw.
Cool. Oh my God.
We saw that from the road. I'm like, we are here.
But there again, we had that hiccup, and you always have stuff that is out of your control and hiccup. But Southern Belle Ghostbusters, they stepped up and got in the Prius, the Ecto 0.5.
Okay.
Which is the smaller one.
Right.
And then of course the classic Ecto one as well.
Right.
So that worked out well. And the problems, and then you have something cool that happens. So
right, it kind of balances it out.
Right.
I would say, and man, in fact, I would even go as far as say it's not even balanced out because you, at least from an outsider, you have way more cool stuff.
Exactly.
Because I know you've kept me a little bit in the loop with some of the things that's been going on,
right.
and obviously, it's like you said, man, you're never going to have something without a hiccup. Hell, even the podcast has hiccups.
Exactly.
We've had a hiccup about every week with something.
You always have something that's going to go wrong.
Right.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I also noticed, some other things that really caught my attention was the cosplayers.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, man, the amount of effort and talent.
It's
mind-boggling.
It's incredible.
It is, man. It's so cool.
I was taken off guard last year,
right?
Because I expected the crowd. I did not expect that many cosplayers last year.
Right.
That threw me off.
Right.
That shocked me. Right. This year didn't disappoint either.
Man, this year was wow. I mean, and it's all kinds of cosplay. Obviously, you got your Star Wars.
Yes.
A lot of DC as well.
Right.
I hear there was even a Vulcan walking around, a Romulan. Excuse me, there was a Romulan walking around. And that was something else.
Some say it was an elf. Some say it was a hobbit.
Now the elf stuff now. I got insecurities about my height.
So is you.
Hey! You heard it here on the podcast first, people. But you know, Mike, that brings up a little bit of a point, man. You have people like me who just went out and bought some Spock ears, walking around. Then you have people like the Superman Wonder Woman cosplayers.
Oh, wow.
Wow, man.
Yeah,
These
wow.
people look like they were straight out of the movie, straight out of the comic books.
Yes.
Like I said, man, the amount of detail and passion that these people, and I know some cosplayers as well, and the amount of passion they put into this thing is mind-boggling,
Yes.
man. It's so awesome. It's almost like you get Halloween in July.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I you know, and I don't know if you've ever seen the show before, Gravity Falls.
No, I'm not
the
familiar.
cartoon. I'm a huge fan. You know, even my daughter dressed up as Mabel this year.
Oh, that's
for
cool.
her cosplay.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
And they have this whole episode dedicated to Summerween. Call it Summerween.
Oh, okay.
Summerween.
Kind of like what we had yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, man, it was just so cool. We also something else that was going on that I want to talk a little bit about because I need to get the information for this. There was a band playing yesterday.
Yes. Oh my God.
Who?
Second year in a row.
Okay, now I wasn't familiar with them
Yes.
last year. What was the band's name?
Antler Hill.
Antler Hill. That's why I couldn't find them on YouTube yesterday.
Yes.
I was looking up the wrong thing.
Antler Hill.
Okay.
A-N-T. Oh my gosh.
Like deer
Let me spell.
antlers.
Yes, like deer antlers.
Yes, A-N antler.
Sunday spelling is not good, people.
No, man, this
Oh,
is
God.
easy like Sunday morning, but spelling is not easy.
A-N-T-L-E-R.
And it's Hill.
H-I-L-L.
Okay, I was looking up Antler Ridge, and I kept coming up with Alter Bridge.
Right.
I was like, wow,
Antler
this
Hill.
band's got a
Yeah.
lot of views.
Yeah.
Man, that band, let me just, being a musician myself, man, and somebody who plays fairly regularly, I try to keep my chops up and everything. Man, this band was really good. There's only two. It was a female and a female vocalist.
Yes.
And a guy playing guitar, and they played with backing tracks. I'm assuming that they produced themselves beforehand.
Yes.
And had it, rigged up, automatically to play along with the songs. But man, this band was phenomenal. I mean, I was, you see some local bands, you're like, they're okay,
Right.
whatever. This band was very good. So listeners, go check these guys out.
Oh my God, they're so good.
They were tremendous.
Yes.
And I'm glad I got the right name.
Yes.
So now I can actually go home and look up some of their music and enjoy it. We'll put some links and stuff on this podcast. But man, once again, Mike, it was just such a phenomenal time. And let's talk a little bit about the actual people and the culture itself.
Well, let me before we get off the actual, let me ask you.
Okay.
As far as, say like vendor-wise.
Right.
What was the coolest thing you saw yesterday?
Oh, man, I hit you with a loaded question. Now you hit me with
There you
one.
go. There you go.
Life is balanced.
Right.
Wow, man. Well, before I go into it, let me tell you what me and Robbie said. This was kind of how we compared it, and I want to be careful how I word this.
Okay.
It's how we put it. We were like, this is a flea market of the absolute coolest stuff you can have. In other words, if you go to 50 flea markets, myself personally, there may be one or two tables per flea market that I'm going to be attracted to. This convention, man, this Comic-Con was all that in one place and more.
Right.
Not only was it, I guess, like I said, when I say flea market, I just mean kind of an open range type marketplace.
Right.
But it also had the best stuff from like toy stores, from video game stores like
Yes.
GameSwap.
Yes.
My favorite,
Because we saw
There's so
much.
much.
There was so much stuff,
there was so much, man.
and there was so much. There's a lot of new stuff. I know you're probably not familiar with. I know I'm not familiar with everything. So, any of the new anime stuff,
right.
kind of out of touch with.
Sure.
But
Same
any of the
here.
old stuff, like G.I. Joe's, He-Man's.
Wow.
I mean,
Screwbiter, Screwbiter
Screwbiter.
was one of my favorites, and I'm not just saying that because.
well, I'm going to
Chris is my
say,
friend.
I'm going to put, because Screwbiter, technically, that would be artist.
Okay.
We're
all
going
right.
straight vendor
Vendors.
here. Straight vendor here.
Man, I don't know. I would think there was somebody set up toward the back that had a lot of the newer DC stuff. It was with the comic guys.
Mhm.
I don't know, brother. They were also. It's
I mean,
almost
'cause
like
there's
picking
so
your favorite
much
ice
stuff.
cream flavor.
It is.
It's so,
It is.
They're all so good.
I'm going
man.
to say, probably, and I'm a horror fan.
Right.
So, one of the vendors, Collector Zone, had the back wall full of old, just B horror movie posters.
The posters, yes.
And I'm, sitting here passing out. Oh my God!
I want that one. I want that one. I want that one.
I've got a car payment.
I'll screw that.
I'm about to pass out right here. No, but they were great prices, and there were just so many. It was hard to pick from.
Right. Man, I hate to admit it, but I actually did not get anything yesterday because it was almost so many. I kind of equate it to when you're on Netflix for 2 hours looking for a movie, and you just never pick a movie because there's so much.
Right.
It was almost in the same vein as that, man, because it was almost overwhelming in a very positive, cool way.
It is. There's just so much stuff, and that's why you have to take so many laps around, just to see everything.
I remember me and Robbie were like, we're getting a little tired. We've been walking, but man, we were there for like 3 hours before we started getting fatigued.
Right.
I mean, anywhere else, like let's say a flea market. Let's just put that out there.
Okay.
Man, I'll do a lap.
Right.
And I'm done. I'm done at one and done, man.
Yeah.
Like so that one or two vendors may catch my attention. This thing, man, because man, it's not only buying and selling, it's the community. And it's like, hey, we can go look at this, these vendors, and now we can go over here and take our picture with Darth Vader and Wonder Woman.
Right.
So it's not even about the buying and selling as much as it is about the entire experience. And, even as far as, like, the paranormal people that were set up, the Bigfoot people, what would that, is that vendors? Or
I would say exhibitors on that. Okay. That's more of an exhibitor classification on those guys. They had, obviously the Bigfoot 911 guys, they had stuff for sale, but I mean they're active, getting stuff out there and investigations.
Right.
And they're actually doing a festival in September, I want to say. I may have that wrong.
The Bigfoot Festival.
Yeah, the Bigfoot Festival in Marion.
Yes.
It's like going to be a Woodstock for Bigfoot.
Bigfoot!
Holy shit.
I want to go to this thing, man. I love that
That's like
stuff,
the biggest thing.
Yeah. And another one that really caught my eye was the paranormal.
First in Fright.
They're actually going to be doing a special in the courthouse. They were telling me about this.
Ooh. Yeah, we're gonna keep that. Under wraps. But you
heard it here first.
That's gonna be a little secret. But yeah,
not now.
Well, if they told you,
they told me.
They told you.
Yes.
But trying to keep the numbers. So there's But no, they've done stuff at the cultural center.
Yes. Well, they were showing us some video footage, and let me just go on record in the podcast. I'm a skeptic.
All right.
I am a skeptic, man. I always have been. But now they showed me and Robbie some footage that gave me the chills.
Right.
I was like, whoa, buddy, okay. I backed up, man.
Yeah.
In fact, when I did, another man standing beside me did the same thing. He saw it, and like he got the chills. He's like, oh, I don't want to see that. And I'm like,
all right.
Spooky, man, but it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
And it's local, and once again, if I spoiled a surprise, sorry guys, but hey, you told me. You can't tell the podcast anything, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna. That's what we do, man. We're breaking the news here.
Hey. But they were so good.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's so hard to pick out stuff. Yes. I've got a 3-year-old. So that's where my money goes at any of these.
Right.
Because she is going to see something she wants more than I want.
Oh, and how could she not?
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine being that age.
Oh.
Brother, I'm 43.
That, just everything is everything. You need that.
Yes, down the line, because as a 43-year-old, I'm like, I need that.
Yeah.
I mean, I need that.
Yeah. And she got some stuff. I know Bigfoot 911, John Bruner actually gave her a Bigfoot necklace.
Oh, that
which
is so
I thought
cool.
it was the coolest thing ever.
That is fantastic, man.
And she is all about that thing.
Just loving that.
She loves it.
And my friend Brian Drum that I brought up a little earlier, he brought his son with him who's 5 years old.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking, and I've seen this kid just run around having a great time, and I'm like, I love being an adult to be able to participate, but part of me is like, man, I wish I could have went to something like this when I was that age.
I know.
Because we didn't have anything
no,
like this.
No,
obviously, man, this is only the second year anyway, but even in the area, Gastonia, maybe Charlotte had them, maybe.
Charlotte did have them. There were, I know, really when you start hearing about Charlotte having them, it was probably in the early 90s.
Yes, right.
So, we were kind of in the age where it was like we could get out and go on our own,
right,
you
right.
know.
But we weren't kids either, though.
No,
at the time, you know.
yeah.
And really, man, I didn't even start hearing about Comic Cons and stuff like that till maybe around the early 2000s.
Really?
Just to be honest with you, because I was never in the culture. Even I guess I was in the culture, and I just didn't
Right.
realize it. You
Right.
know? And that's something, you know, even going back to Jon Schnepp, who we talked about earlier, man, just to be able to have people bring the stuff out.
Right.
You know, and I think the internet has been very, very, you know, important in that. But like I said, man, just to be able to bring it out to the mainstream and realize, hey, wait, you know, these people are like me.
Exactly.
You know, they like the same stuff I like.
Right.
You know, I'm not different, or I'm not weird. Well, I am, but there's other weird, different people
Exactly.
as well, man. We're all
Exactly.
like-minded, and like I said, man, it's in July. You have people walking around in full costumes,
It's hot.
and it's hot.
It's
man.
hot.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
it's
yesterday
hot.
was a scorcher, brother.
It's hot.
But man, they do it,
Yeah.
and it is so cool. Like I said, even I participated. I don't even usually dress up for Halloween. I went out, I had to get some Vulcaneers, and I was telling everybody they were Romulan, you know. They're not Vulcan and Romulan, you know.
Yeah.
But man, like I said, it was just such a great day. It was so fun. I mean, the sense of community, the sense of family, the option and ability to be able to buy collectibles and custom made art, all in one location.
Right.
And you had contests, you had live music, good live music.
Right.
I mean, geez, man, what else could you
Demonstrations.
ask for?
You had, yeah,
oh,
you had
the karate.
the martial arts demonstrations that
That's right.
they did on stage was pretty stinking cool.
That was cool,
Yeah.
man. That was cool stuff. Yes.
You also had the Star Wars guys. You know, you had a freaking droid.
Yes.
You had a freaking, like, I can't remember the name of it. It's not an R2,
Well, but
R2D2, but it was like one of the R.
It's an R unit.
Yeah.
It's red instead of blue.
Right.
Basically.
But it's just going around everywhere.
Yeah.
In and out of everywhere.
And you know, I saw Darth Vader having lightsaber
Vader.
battles with kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just
Loved
really
it.
awesome, cool
Yeah.
stuff. You know, man, and you know, Mike, like I said, I know it's a team effort, but you know, also you got to take your props, man, and the credit that you deserve as well. And I've already said, I'll say it again, man. Thank you for you and everyone
Yes,
involved
everyone,
in this thing, because I
everyone.
know it's a lot of people. And man, once again, it was just so fun, and I was really impressed with the turnout and proud. I was proud of my town, man. I'm always proud of my town.
I know.
I always am, but I was really super proud of you, of the community, everybody there. Like I said, man, we've said this in other podcast. They say you can't go home again. I think that's BS. You can, and we did yesterday.
Yeah,
you know.
we did.
And we did.
I know. Now, one of the coolest things I saw, I think that took me into that nostalgia trip, was one of the vendors, Needless Essentials,
Okay.
had the full-size USS flag from G.I. Joe.
Yes.
Now, if anybody remembers this thing was the coup d'etat. It was the holy grail of kiddom. It's the holy grail now of collectors, you know,
Right.
as far as Joe stuff goes. But this thing is what is it, 6 foot?
It is huge.
It's six
it's
to
got-
eight.
it's
It's
gotta
six
be.
to it's 6 to 8 feet long.
Yes. I had one friend that had it. It took up his entire bedroom.
It would have to take
had
up.
to.
It would have to.
It was almost to the point. I mean, obviously, all the kids went to this guy's house.
Yeah.
You know, but it was almost so big you could hardly play with it because we were scrambling because he had his
Yeah.
bed in there as well, and that was it, man.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
a
it.
bed and USS flag.
Right.
But one thing I told Robbie.
But it's big enough you could actually sleep on it. Yeah.
You really could, man. And that's what I told Rob yesterday. We're drooling over this
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I mean, we're just staring like, I felt like two dogs looking at like a steak.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
drooling like, oh, God, I wish I could get this. But it's like I told Robbie, I'm like, as I've gotten older, certain toys seem smaller to me now.
Yeah, right.
Like He-Man.
Right, yeah.
He-Man's
Yeah.
a prime example. The
Yeah.
old wrestling figures, the LBJ,
Yeah.
or
LJN.
LJN, excuse me. They were so huge as a
Oh,
kid,
yeah,
but when
God,
I got
those are
older,
massive.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not as big.
No, it's still pretty big.
It's still
but-
big
yeah,
compared.
But these things were, gigantic
Yeah.
when you were kids. Oh my God, look at
yeah.
this.
I mean, it's almost a percentage of your height
Yes.
as a kid.
Yeah.
But but obviously, you get older. Well, it's not as big. Like I say, He-Man was always the first one I would think about. It's like, you get older, it's not as big. But man, the USS flag.
Oh, It
Dude,
never. It didn't change.
I think it actually looks a little bigger as an adult.
I think that's because we didn't have one.
Exactly.
That's why.
And I can almost understand why I didn't get one.
Right.
You know, it's like, well, I can pay the rent and the mortgage on the house, or I can get the USS Flag. You know? Once again, the family could sleep on it if push comes to shove.
All right. Now, do you have anything still from
I really don't, man.
kiddom? As far
much.
as wrestling figures?
No, I have some wrestling figures. That's
Right.
the only thing I really say, man. My He-Man, my G.I. Joes, my Transformers are all pretty much.
Really?
You know, but I actually did hold on to a pretty good majority of my wrestling figures. The only thing about my wrestling figures, man, is I would beat the absolute crap out of
they'll
these
beat
things.
the hell.
Oh,
I've seen his wrestling figures. No, listen. I've seen his wrestling figures before. These things went through hell. I've seen
literally.
I can't remember which one it was that had the staples in it.
Yeah.
It had freaking staples stuck into this.
Brother, I was booking hardcore matches
before they were cool.
Before they were cool, man. Yeah. I had staple matches, fire matches.
Oh,
you know,
you
inferno
could
matches.
tell. You could tell. You could tell too.
I'd take a red magic marker, man, and put blood all over them. And no, man, I
could tell the Randy Savage one's been through the ringer.
Oh yeah, you know how I felt about the Macho Man.
Oh,
God rest his soul. I love the Macho Man, but as a kid, when
the Mega Powers exploded.
Oh, brother, you know what side I went to?
It was on that figure.
It was, man, I took all my frustrations out on that Macho Man Randy Savage figure.
Yep.
I actually broke my Hulk Hogan's leg because I would extend it to do the leg drops so much.
Oh, no.
It actually had a little bit of a rip in the kneecap.
But that was the problem with those figures.
They weren't mobile. Or movable.
Yeah, they had no articulation whatsoever.
No, and they were still cool. I think those...
You could do good suplexes and cross body blocks and stuff like
Ricky
that.
Steamboat had a hell of a claw.
Oh, he had the claw.
But he never used the claw.
Never used the freaking claw.
But he did in my booking.
He did.
He did in my bedroom.
A lot of finishes with the claw. And he could do a great hip toss too.
Yes, he could.
They had that bend in the arm, boom, right over.
And Jesse the Body did a great neck breaker.
Yeah, yeah. DDTs were plenty.
Well, yes, except for Jake. Jake had his arms up. But
right,
they were all over the place.
They were. Well, see, my thing, and I know we're in here in the Pud Cave, and I've actually got them on display, are my old muscle wrestling figures.
I'm looking at them as we speak, and man, you have no idea how much envy I have.
Now, here's the thing with muscles. If you're not familiar with muscles, they were millions of. And that's what muscle stood for. Millions of usually small creatures lurking everywhere.
I had no idea what it stood for till right now.
I
knew it's an acronym.
Yeah.
I never went out. I learned something new today, Posters. I learned something new.
But they're these intergalactic wrestlers, and they had the same articulation as the LGN WWF, which is absolutely none. Except they are the size of the LGN WWF wrestling figures, the size of their boots.
Yes.
These are 2 inch tall.
About 2 inches.
2 inch tall figures, and there were probably about, I want to say, close to 200 different ones. And at some point they started doing them in different colors. I'm not talking just multicolors. I'm talking the original ones were flesh color or
kind of pinkish,
kind of pink flesh color. Right. Then they started doing the solid green lime greens, purples, red ones, blue ones, everything.
Yes.
And these things were everywhere, and they would come in packages of 4.
Right.
Or a trash can, and it's actual trash can of 10.
That's right.
Or big package of 20 if you were the lucky one.
I never got the trash can, brother. I just got the 4-packs.
I always got the 4-packs. And they also had the championship belt.
Yeah. Oh, that you could put them in. They were like a little case.
Carrying case you could put around your waist.
Right.
And they also had the wrestling ring.
Right.
There's a small wrestling ring.
You had the little clips on it.
You could put them in the little holders there, and you had the joysticks on outside the ring, and you just wrestle. It was actually cooler. I thought that part was cooler because you could actually, growing up playing wrestling with LGM figures in that ring.
Man, that
matches
ring,
didn't always go
the way you wanted them
No,
to go.
no, because those matches didn't end because somebody was not winning,
Right.
somebody was not losing.
Well, you see, I broke my ring because of so many scaffold matches I was having. I would actually drop these heavy rubber. I mean, these things were heavy as well. They were sturdy, man.
Let me tell you, that ring was sturdy, so that was a
Oh,
hard thing to do.
Oh, well, you know me.
The
And my
ropes,
matches.
the ropes would stretch out after a while.
Oh yeah, now the ropes get very loose. You'd have to
Yeah.
do about 3 or 4 different turns on them.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, to get it to tighten up,
Yeah.
But no, man, I would drop mine off with force. Like I said, when I had scaffold matches, man. See, dude, when I would book with my wrestling figures, I didn't know it was a work. I thought that they were literally just like the wrestlers were literally getting beat up, man. I thought my figures had to get equally beat up, man. I wish I'd have known it was a work, and then I could have saved some more of them.
Right.
You know?
But with this muscle wrestling thing, the ring and the contraption, there would be a clear winner or a loser.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't in control of it per se.
Right.
As far as that, it was just the luck of the thing and
how it
boom,
went.
how it went.
Yep.
So I get this wrestling ring Christmas Day. I'm beside myself. I can't stand it. I gotta play with it. And I start putting different figures in, start having different matches. And wouldn't you know, I decided to put, I would name some, because there were no names to give these guys. Not until you
a little
saw
later on. Terry Bull.
Terry Bull.
That's the only one I really remember was
yeah.
Terry Bull, because he was the leader of the bad guys.
Right.
Yeah.
But they were named in Japan. They weren't named over here. Right. You didn't find out later what their real names were.
Right.
But I always call it, he was this big fat one. I always called him Abdullah because he looked like Abdullah the Butcher.
Right.
So I decided to put him in this thing.
Did it break the clip?
It broke the damn clip on Christmas morning.
Oh, no, man.
Yes.
Dude, I got one that'll top that one. You want to hear about a Christmas disappointment? I don't know if I've ever told you this, Mike Payne. All right, all you puds out there, you're going to hear a confession, or maybe not necessarily a confession, but a heartbreaking moment in my life, man. It was the Christmas of 1986.
86.
My grandparents gave me Optimus Prime.
Uh-huh.
My cousin, Chris Finger, shout out to Chris Finger, my cousin. My cousin's family and Tracy, his sister, my other cousin, their family gave me Megatron.
Oh, wow.
Christmas Eve.
That's a big deal.
This is Christmas Eve. Now we have Megatron, and all the grandkids got Optimus Prime. All the boys. All the boys got Optimus Prime. I'm the only one that had Megatron. I got so excited I tried transforming it. I broke it.
Oh,
Christmas
God.
Eve at my grandparents' house, I broke his arm,
man.
man. So from that point forward, Dad super glued it, but I could never transform Megatron again. I kept him in robot form. I still had him to play with, but I broke it Christmas Eve because I did not read the instructions.
Right,
my
I know.
Just like I'm not doing now when I do post production on the PUDcast, man.
I know.
That graphic that we're using now literally takes 30 seconds to do. It took me 2 hours to try to figure it out on my own. Then I had to look up the instructions. I still haven't learned my lesson, Mikey Payne.
I know.
I still have not learned my lesson, man. I still don't read the instructions.
Hey, those things were tough, man. They could be tough.
They could, man. I mean, they could get a little finicky, to put it. But, something else about the Muscle Men, though. You know what? As simple as it was, you know what I liked about those? Was the poster.
Oh, God.
Do you remember the poster?
I still have
you
the
still
poster.
have it?
Still have the poster.
Because you could check it off as you went. I had that
Checklist.
Yes. And, man, I had that on the back of my door for years.
Yeah.
Obviously, I never finished it. I never could get them all checked off.
Right.
But, man, that was just another one of those great little toys that we got to harken back to with this Comic-Con. Right. Kind of taking it back full circle, man. Now, Mike, let me ask you, just as far, because I know the subject is comic culture in general,
yes.
man. In your opinion, man, how would you define comic culture or Comic-Con culture, geekdom? Like what words would you put to that?
Wow.
Another heavy question.
That's heavy. I would say they're very passionate.
Right.
About what they love.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
They are very passionate about what they love and what they hate.
That, Mikey, brother, I didn't even think about this because I've been thinking about this show through the last few days, and I'm thinking of all the positives. Man, there is a little bit of a toxic element. We saw it kind of with the latest Star Wars movie.
Yes.
One of the characters, Rose, I forget the actress's name. This lady caught a lot of well, of shit, man. I'm just once
Yeah.
again, I'm trying to watch, but she caught a lot of shit
Let's be real.
people did not like her character. I first of all, man, I liked the Last Jedi.
Right.
I don't think you've seen it yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
I like it, man. There is now. It's not your average everyday Star Wars movie. It's not, man. It definitely deviates a little bit. But man, the culture that was attached to this thing, man, there was a lot of negativity.
Right.
And I mean, I consider these people my people.
Right.
And they're really being very negative. And that's one thing I've noticed, man. And once again, Mike, great point to bring this up, man, because with the good, you kind of got to look at the bad as
Right.
well. And that passion runs deep, and it can run either. That's the thing about passion. Passion's not necessarily a positive thing all the time,
Right.
man. You've heard the saying, hate with a passion. Well,
Right.
you do get that as well, man. That's good. That's a good point to bring up.
Star Wars is probably one of the biggest and most recognizable out of everything.
I agree with that, yeah.
That's the thing. You either love it, you hate it,
Or you hate it. But the ones who love it, the ones
Love
who
to hate it,
love
too.
to hate it sometimes, man. Like I said, this Last Jedi blowback. Now, don't get me wrong. When I walked out of that theater, I'm like, whoa, okay. Not what I was expecting, but I was also like, I really like this movie.
Right.
I like the choices they made. I like the chances they took, man. They took some chances
Yeah.
in this movie, which obviously, man, had some backlash.
Right.
It was not a safe movie to
Right.
make. Rain Johnson really, he took a lot of, I guess, a lot of risk here, man. And I think it may be the most polarizing movie in the franchise, including the prequels, because the prequels are very polarizing as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there's a little bit more hate. And I catch myself doing that too, Mike. I'm the first one to say I hate Jar Jar Binks.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But a lot of people hated C-3PO.
Yes, sir.
as well.
And the Ewoks.
The Ewoks.
The Ewoks were hated, man.
Right.
It's funny. I think as we get older, man, we forget the fact that these are geared toward kids. And, as we get adult and we get a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, man? Maybe we start getting into more mature themes.
Right.
Or darker, grittier
Yeah.
themes. That's what I don't like about some of these R-rated superhero movies coming out. I love Deadpool, and don't get me wrong, Deadpool needs to be R-rated for it to be done correctly. But, I've even heard of, like, other superhero movies maybe getting R-rated. They've even discussed having an R-rated Star Trek, Mikey.
Well, I mean, well, see, that's the thing,
I don't know
and
about
people
that.
forget, a lot of, the R-rated movies and comic movies they've been around. Blade.
Yeah.
Blade was huge. Blade was huge to me when I was a kid, of course, just because Blade was, just badass.
You're right. I love the character.
Yeah.
I love the character.
And that was definitely R, and you had a lot of stuff going on in that. And,
You could look at RoboCop, even though it necessarily wasn't. I guess my issue, man, is
Punisher.
Punisher. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Was it right? I thought. Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about Dolph Lundgren's Punisher.
Oh, was it
and
rated
then-
R? Oh,
yeah.
okay. I don't know how I feel about it, brother, because, like I said, it's strange.
How about Howard the Duck?
Let's never speak of that again. Didn't that movie actually show duck nipples? It did, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Well, I think in that case, man, they were trying to have an adult-oriented,
Right.
Which
I think
obviously...
even had, what was it, Duck Condom?
I think they did.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
did,
yeah.
yes. And a little bit of bestiality going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think, me personally, Deadpool, obviously, if you're going to do Deadpool correctly, you got to be R-rated. And I get, like, some of the older movies, like RoboCop, which obviously wasn't necessarily a comic book movie, but I think we do need to remember, man, that these are, well, especially going back to Star Wars, especially, man, it's for the children as well. It's for kids as well.
Yes.
Because, man, I loved the Ewoks when I was a kid. I loved Ewoks.
Right.
Man, you talk to people, nowadays, that sucked, that was just for kids. And I'll tell you the truth, man. I was talking to a young guy I used to work with, and he was about 20-something, so we had about 20 years difference. And we were talking one day, and he was like, dude, how do you not like the prequels? And I'm like, well, I'm just not into them. I have my reasons. I mean, I like them to a certain degree, man. They just don't get the rewatchability as the original trilogy
Right.
or the sequels get. But he was like, man, I love them. He
Yeah.
grew up on them. He was a kid.
Right, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
his thing,
Yeah,
man. And,
yeah.
and he was like, dude, the
Yeah.
trilogy, the original trilogy is boring.
Right.
And and it made me realize, it's like, well, man, I'm looking at the prequels as an adult.
Uh-huh.
now, and I want it to be this certain way.
Right.
So that helped me kind of lighten my viewpoints of it up.
Yeah.
It's not my thing, man. I'm not going to sit around and watch Jar Jar Binks, But But at the same time, I'm not going to quite hate on it like I used to either, because it was for that generation,
Exactly.
man. You know,
Exactly.
and kind of going back to my Star Trek issue with an R-rated Star Trek, brother, I'm not cool with that.
Really?
I'm not cool with that. And let me tell you why, man. I feel Star Trek should be accessible to everyone, not just adults. I think it should be accessible to children as well. Because, man, I love Star Trek. I grew up watching Star Trek.
You don't think it had some of that element, in the TV show? It was kind of, that kind of, especially Kirk, man. He was. Let's break it down. Kurt was a womanizer.
Oh man, he got more. Well,
Yeah.
he got all the tang in the fucking universe.
I mean,
brother.
that was the thing. There was a lot of sexual tension on that.
Yeah, well, but I don't know to the point of it being an R-rated, adults only. Man, when I think of R-rated, I think of 17 plus.
How old were you when you got into Star Trek?
Oh man, let's see, probably about 15,
Really?
14, 15. Now.
So, at that point, you're.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm getting older,
Yeah,
man.
I mean-
I'm used to more mature themes. I'm
Right.
watching R-rated movies,
Right. Oh, yeah.
Even though I'm not supposed to, I still am. Have been for years at
Yeah.
this point. But now, full disclosure, man, I didn't watch the original series that much.
Right.
In fact, to this day, it's not. I love the original crew in the movies. Wrath of Khan, the
Mhm.
Undiscovered
Yes.
Country, Voyage Home, all that. But I'm a huge Next Generation guy, man. I am so much more Picard than I am Kirk, man.
Right.
To me, it's not even a comparison, man.
Okay. Okay.
And especially coming from the Next Generation, man.
Let's talk about another womanizer
Okay.
off of that show.
Riker. Well, man, you got to kind of have that guy in the show, man. That kind of little bit of a cowboy element. That's what I loved about the Next Generation, man, because you still had that Kirk type character, but you had a Picard. You had more of almost a fatherly, diplomatic. Like, we're not going in full guns blazing.
Right.
We're not out here
Yeah.
to try to screw every alien we can get. Where Riker kind of was like that.
Yeah.
It was a great balance, man.
Yeah.
That's why I always liked the Next Generation, but. To me, haven't just thought of an R-rated Star Trek. I'm like, why is it going to be R-rated, man? Is it going to have a lot of profanity? Is it going to have nudity? Is it going to be over-violent? All these three things, I'm like, that's not Star Trek to me, brother. It's once again, now I'm starting to get into what we just brought up about, I don't think my opinion is necessarily toxic, but I definitely think it's maybe against the grain.
You're passionate.
I'm passionate about it, man, and I'm a traditionalist. Almost like with pro wrestling. I'm a traditionalist with pro wrestling. And I'm a huge traditionalist with Star Trek.
Okay. Well, let's take on that subject right now.
Okay.
That's a good, because it just kind of popped into my head earlier. Traditional wrestling.
Right.
That was aimed more towards adults and kids.
Yeah.
Especially in WWE.
Oh yes, absolutely. Right.
Around that time.
More kid, I would
Okay.
say even.
In the late 90s, you go into the Attitude Era.
Very much
Definitely not.
for kids.
Definitely not for kids.
Yeah, man, that's a good comparison. I think the Attitude, which is probably my favorite era. That between that and the '80s, 80s will always be my
Yeah.
favorite. Always hold that special place. The Attitude era is right up there as well.
It's very memorable.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially for our age group,
Yes.
man. Because we were kids during the '80s, during the Hogan era, during Ric Flair, and then we were young men.
Right.
And young adults, during the time of the Attitude Era. So in other words, we could drink some beer at
Yes.
the shows. We
Yeah.
could.
It was
raise
definitely
hell.
geared for us.
It was.
It was geared for us.
For our demographic, man.
Yes.
People too old would be too traditionalist,
Right.
and it was definitely not for kids, man.
Right.
I've even heard current superstars in WWE say that they probably would not allow their kids to watch the Attitude Era. I think Mark Henry may have been the one.
Right.
I don't want to misquote someone, but somebody did say that. Man, it's a good point. When you want to compare that kind of, I guess mature, for lack of a better term, progress into a more mature product versus like movies. But Mike, WWE has gone back full circle.
Exactly.
The Attitude Era, man, I feel was out of necessity. To fight the NWO, to fight WCW. I think Vince was left to his own, his own way about
Right.
it. In other words, if WCW wasn't a competition about to put him out of business, I don't think we would ever have that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You never know,
It's
man.
quite possible.
It's one of those things we'll never truly know.
Yeah.
But, kind of circling it back to Star Trek, man. Because I am passionate about my Star Trek. I like Star Trek better than Star Wars. I make that very clear. I love Star Wars, man.
Right.
I love Star Wars. But I really love Star Trek. Man, Star Trek is not okay. All right, let me get position my chair here because we are talking Comic Con culture. We are talking these things, so it definitely does fit. As an old school Star Trek, especially the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, that era of Star Trek. I'm a old school fan. I'm a traditionalist. I love all those series. Man, Star Trek has never been about the gunfights, the laser battles, the space battles. Man, it was more about making a point. It was more about morality than anything, man. Star Trek would use science fiction themes to make points, man. I'm going to bring up my favorite episode of Star Trek just real briefly. And I know you're not as familiar with it as I am. Yeah. I know you're definitely more Star Wars. But let me I'm going to give you just a quick example. There's a character on Star Trek: The Next Generation called Data. Data is an android. Data is a machine. Okay, Data has the capacity through his programming to learn and adapt. He's artificial intelligence, a very high level. In the Star Trek universe, his creator is dead. His creator, well, he comes back. Okay, all right, now I'm really starting to get all crazy. Data's creator, for all purposes in this episode, is dead. So no one can replicate Data.
Right.
Data is unique android all to himself. No one knows to replicate the technology. They have an episode called Measure of a Man, to where Starfleet, a member of Starfleet wants to take Data, disassemble him to learn how he works. That way he can create more datas for each ship.
Right.
So it starts turning into the concept is Data a machine or is he a being? Is he sentient? Is he aware?
Okay.
They actually have to have a trial to dictate whether Data can be. In other words, does Data have rights?
Right.
And man, that's what this whole show's about. Obviously, at the end of the episode, man, they rule in favor of Data. You know, Captain Picard, Sir Patrick Stewart, gives a great speech in this show, and I will actually link this speech to our podcast because it's tremendous, man. But he basically says, even though Data is a machine, he still has all these, I guess, checkoffs for what makes something unique, an individual, and he has rights. So, man,
well, when you say checkoff, you don't mean
not checkoff from the show, no,
from the original,
not Walter Krog or whatever.
Yeah, not from the original career.
I guess I should say certain conditions to meet.
Yes.
But that's my point, man. And this entire episode sticks out to me as one of not only the greatest Star Trek episodes of all time, but one of the greatest television shows of all time. And there was not one laser fired. Right. There was not one Klingon battleship blown up. It was just about morality, man. Right. It was about making a point, man. And to me, that's what Star Trek's about. If you want the action and all that, you know, go to Star Wars. That's what I love about Star Wars, man. I want that too. Yeah. You know, I want that element. But for Star Trek, man, is about just a little deeper than what's on the surface. And that's why I think an R-rated Star Trek, man, may take something away from that because it's not needed. And not only is it not needed, man, but you're about to exclude kids. You know, even though they will eventually watch it. Don't get me wrong. I know this. Even an R-rated Star Trek's not going to be over-sexualized. It's not going to have. They're not going to drop the F word every 5 minutes. I understand. Yeah. It's probably going to be for violence.
Right.
If it's going to be for anything, but still, man, it's not necessary for Star Trek fans. Man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying. And so I'm gonna get off my soapbox, brother. As you can tell, man, I do take Star Trek seriously.
Yeah, and like I said, you know,
passionate.
Passionate.
Yes, which goes back to exactly where we started, man. We're going full circle with this thing, and you know, but I think we have to talk about the negatives as well. But you know, man, let's start talking a little bit more about some of the positives that go along with Comic-Con culture. You know, obviously the passion is there, in a positive manner. Brother, I'm telling you, you don't spend the time and money to put in these costumes.
No,
you know what I mean, and these presentations. This isn't.
It's just not a fly thought in the night.
This ain't stamp collecting, brother. No. This ain't maybe going out and painting a rock or something, man. This is legit.
Yeah.
This is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle, man.
And that's the other side of the passion. You know, the hard work and the passion that everyone puts into their costumes.
Yes.
And getting everything just perfect.
Perfect, man. Yes.
Perfect. Not going out, you know, to a party city.
Oh, good point, bro. Good point. Yes.
Not just going out to a party city.
Yes.
Or
going online or something.
Online. These are handmade. handcrafted.
And you could so tell it.
Absolutely.
You could so tell it, man. Dude, once again, man, there was so many great cosplayers, man. The Harley Quinn and Joker and Poison Ivy that we seen when we first walked in was great, man. Like I said, I go back though to the Superman and Wonder Woman one because those two blew me away. I mean, both of these people legitimately look like Superman and Wonder Woman.
Right.
They were fit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm not trying to say that you have to lift weights and do this and that to have fun. Oscars, don't. But I'm just saying for what they were doing and how they presented it, man, they were the absolute full package.
Yes.
I mean, I could see these two, and there was actually a Green Arrow there as well who was in.
Fantastic.
I mean, man, because these three were kind of together,
right?
And I'm like, man, you guys just came off the screen.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, they look so great. The Darth Vader was, dude, it was all great.
The Stormtroopers.
Oh man, there was a Boba Fett there.
Boba Fett.
I mean,
Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool. He had the Flash.
Yes. Reverse Flash. It was Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash. You had the classic Flash.
Well,
did you see the classic Flash?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. With the round helmet and the wings coming out of it. Yeah.
I didn't, man. I didn't see that.
Yes.
Well, you know what's funny? Me and Robbie kind of got behind the Reverse Flash, and he was walking kind of slow. I was like, "Damn, man, you think this got speed up?" So,
oh no!
What is this, man?
Of course,
it's the Reverse Flash. You heard that shit?
He must have heard. No, we're sorry. That was Jason Finger.
Hey, bud.
Yeah. You know it's bound to happen. I forget to turn my phone down. At some point, one of us had to do it.
It's going to happen, man.
That would have to be on me.
And it'll happen again. It'll happen again, man. It's all good. But yeah, like I said, Mike, it was great, man. And just the culture itself, man. And I think one of the most positive aspects of this culture, and man, I know we've talked about getting too deep on things, especially politically speaking, this and that. But one thing that I think that society is missing, in general as a whole, is something that we have in spades in the Comic-Con community, and that's acceptance, man. That's accepting everybody for who they are. I just brought up, like Superman and Wonder Woman. You can tell these people are in the gym every day. You can tell that. But there's also people, man, who maybe aren't in the gym every day.
Right.
And they're out there doing their thing too, man. They're comfortable with who they are.
Yeah.
And they're accepted for who they are, man.
Absolutely.
It does not matter what you look like. It doesn't matter your body type. It doesn't matter what you decide to dress up as, man. You are accepted. You are one of us. I don't care, man. It doesn't matter. There just seems to be like there's no judgment, man.
No,
none at all, man. No. It does not matter how you look. It doesn't matter how you dress. Hell, you don't even have to dress up, man.
No.
You don't have to.
Nope.
You're there. Everybody's accepting it. Gay, straight, black, white, man, Hispanic, whatever, man. Whatever is under the rainbow, whatever you are welcome.
Yes.
And that is something I think society in general is really kind of missing.
That's the thing, no politics whatsoever.
None.
That's something that that is so refreshing, that there's no politics involved in this whatsoever.
Brother, the most you're going to get is Star Wars versus Star Trek.
That is.
Or Marvel versus DC.
Right.
DC wins.
Yeah.
I mean, just but that's it.
How do you even justify a statement like that?
What, the DC wins?
DC wins.
2 words. Well, one word. Batman.
That's it.
Superman.
That's everybody's argument.
Well,
Batman.
Well, Batman can take out the entire Marvel universe, man, by himself.
God.
I mean, if he wants to make it a little easier, he'll holler at Wonder Woman and Superman. Dude, come on, DC is so much better. Come on, man. Okay, Spider-Man and Thor's the shit. Excuse my language, but I'll give you that much, man. I love Thor. I love Spider-Man, but whatever. The Hulk's okay, I guess. He's alright. It's alright. Iron Man's alright. If you like Batman, you're going to really like Batman if you like Iron Man. I'm just saying. And let's be honest, man. Who else is in the DC universe that just pretty much trumps everybody? And that's the character that actually has a movie coming out that was actually.
I knew this was coming. I knew it. I knew this was coming.
I'm just talking.
You beat me to it.
I'm just talking about the King of Atlantis, brother.
Oh.
Aquaman has control and dominion over 75% of the planet. He controls some of the biggest, most powerful creatures on the face of the earth, and he is king of the kingdom of Atlantis, man. Come on. and he's
Well,
going.
that's great. I mean, if we all want to go to Myrtle Beach and fight, but
Now, okay, see, now this is a common misconception, man. Now, first of all, let me. Okay, in all seriousness, I watched the trailer yesterday. The trailer actually premiered yesterday. Check it out, man. It looks cool. It looks
Okay.
really cool. It really does, man. You know,
I watched the new Godzilla trailer yesterday.
Oh, I haven't
King of
watched
the
it yet.
Monsters.
They look pretty cool as well.
Yeah, that's going to definitely trump anything the Waterman's got.
Well, easy. It's Aquaman, and it's not Waterman, and that's offensive. And it's Aqua. I tell you, man, this movie is going to be phenomenal. Shazam is another one I watched yesterday. Shazam looks like that's going to be a great movie too. But let's just get back to the reality of the situation. And Aquaman is no joke. And there's also, man, you make a joke about going to Myrtle Beach. And man, I just want to call bullshit on that. Because let me explain something to you. First of all, man, there's water everywhere.
Uh-huh.
We can go down here to South Fork River, and Aquaman will be there. But since
If
Aquaman...
Aquaman is in the South Fork
Holy
River,
Jesus. He's already
it's game
mutated.
over.
He's mutated.
It's game over.
He's burning.
It's done.
He's
It's
gone.
done.
It's over.
So-
It's over. But
All right, so
but here's the thing, man, about Aquaman. His strength, man, since he is used to the deep depths of the ocean, man, his density and strength are only second to Superman. He's bulletproof. A lot of people don't understand that. Yes,
Yeah.
man, the density of his bones and his flesh, given that he had to live underwater for so long, man, it's given him that super strength. He's second only to Superman.
it's like a hard-shell turtle.
Man, that's bullshit. No, man. Okay, all right. Look, we're going to. I'm getting mad. We're going to have. We're going to have to just cut it out.
No, I'm just saying, because I got a lot to fire off about some Aquaman. All right, let me tell you, the Super Friends. Remember the cartoon?
Oh man, okay.
Super Friends.
No.
All right, let's talk. Let's talk about some water. All right. So you tell me you got this guy who's an operative, underwater operative for
Yes.
the Justice League.
Sure.
Where does the damn Legion of Doom dome come out of?
Okay, well, look, man.
It comes out of a damn swamp.
Mikey, that's a cartoon, bro.
Listen,
We're talking real life, not cartoon.
I guess because the fact that you couldn't get a seahorse down there so he can ride in and just start, just whipping some ass in the Legion of Doom in the swamp, in the water.
Well, the swamp. That's the swamp. That's Swamp Thing's domain, man. Which is also DC, I might add. Where's Swamp Thing? Swamp Thing's great, So, Mike, let me ask you, DC or Marvel?
See, we're cutting out this Aquaman.
I'm trying to change the
real
subject.
quick.
I'm trying to change the subject here.
I'm gonna say okay. For me growing up, it was definitely Marvel.
Okay. All right.
Because I love Spider-Man, I love the X-Men.
Yeah. X-Men's another. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The characters in that. Now there were a lot of lame characters in Marvel.
Sure.
DC, I loved Batman.
Right.
I loved Superman.
Sure. Wonder Woman's great.
I wasn't a big fan of Wonder Woman, or the Aquaman, or any of the other Justice League.
Nobody's perfect, Mike. No.
I was not.
We need to work on your Aquaman appreciation.
It was just made no sense. Of course, I mean, Marvel had its Submariner,
Right.
who was equally as useless.
It was also a straight up bite
I mean,
off of Aquaman. It was straight up biting. And I've noticed, man, that both of those companies did tend to bite off each other.
They could.
Now, one thing I'll say, man.
Because at that time, let's see.
Well, you had
I want to say, DC had its loudmouth anti-hero Lobo.
Yes.
And
Well, man, Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, Terminator.
is an absolute bite off of. They tell you that. Hey, I mean, his name is Slade versus Wade. I mean, it is absolutely a bite. One thing I'll say, man, about Marvel versus DC. Obviously, I love both, man. Obviously, I love the Marvel movies. I think the DC movies. There's been some ups and downs.
Right.
That's another community, brother, that can get downright toxic at times. Is some of these people that. The DC Marvel people.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Especially with the DC movies not being maybe not being as good as they could have been. I think the Justice League was kind of a disappointment. That movie should have been epic, and it was kind of a letdown.
I tell you, it's hard. It's hard because Marvel Marvel's got a juggernaut
They do.
behind them.
And
In
brother,
Disney.
yes, and you know, even before that, man, just when they started doing their extended universe, man, they've been in this thing for 10 years. You know, Iron Man came out in 2008
Yeah.
or seven. I mean, it's 10 years at least. And I mean, man, one thing I'll say about Marvel versus DC, I think DC has your most iconic characters, man. Your Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Your Trinity, you know.
Right.
You know, even Aquaman, I don't think has the credit he deserves, but he's not even in that tier, I would say. But those three, man, are iconic, especially
Right.
Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
I put Wonder Woman in there as well, being the first female superhero that really caught out to the mainstream. Maybe the first one, period. You know, I'm not sure of my history. I think Marvel has more characters that are maybe not as iconic, but I think they're. In other words, I think there's maybe less. God, man, for the only term I can think of is scrub characters. You know, I think Marvel has less scrub type characters,
Right.
whereas you know DC has these two at least, but maybe three highly iconic.
Yes.
Where Marvel maybe only has Spider-Man on that level.
Ooh,
You-
no, I would say
you-
definitely Spider-Man, Captain America, Incredible Hulk.
I don't know, man, if I would consider them to be as iconic as
I would
Batman
say
and Superman.
I
Would
say,
you?
I would say Captain America for sure.
I would say Spider-Man.
I would say Spider-Man, Captain America for sure.
I could see Captain America. I
Yeah.
could see that.
Because I mean, USA. I mean, that's
That was a big thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, even maybe Wolverine to a certain degree, maybe, or the X-Men maybe as a whole.
maybe as a whole.
The individual character, because they're definitely more an ensemble
Yeah.
thing. But you know, Mike, speaking kind of, you know, just to kind of change subjects, not really, but just slightly. You know, man, our Comic Con here in Lincoln this year actually coincided with another little Comic Con that was going on as well. Maybe not quite as big as Lincolnton's,
Uh-huh.
but it was a San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah.
Like, it's all right. It's all right. You know.
I believe I may have heard of that one.
Have you
somewhere.
heard of that?
Yes.
You know, I think it's really cool, man, that both of these Comic Cons are on the same weekend, man. I think
What?
was that coincidental, or did y'all plan on that?
No, you know that it just happened.
It was a coincidence.
It was just one of those things that just happens.
That was awesome, though. That it
right
did.
around the same time. So,
Right.
but actually, I was about to say, you know, one of our artists from last year, the Cabby Arts, couldn't make it this year because he is actually
Really?
an artist at San Diego Comic Con
really?
this year.
The
Yes.
granddaddy.
This is the honor.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I did not
That's
know
the
that.
big. That's the big one. I mean, that's
That's the
everything.
granddaddy, man. That's the one that
That's
started them all.
everything. It's everything. It's the biggest one, for sure.
For sure, yeah, without a doubt, man. It's the one that everything else has followed.
Yeah.
You know, this thing started in 1970. I did a little research
Right.
on it, man. I had no idea
Yeah.
that it was that far back.
Yes.
But this thing started. You know how many people showed up to the first one? Now you know it sells out.
Right. Oh yeah.
I
that's-
forget how many people it can hold, man. It's thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
And it goes on so many days.
Yes, I think it's about 4 days, Thursday to Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. And this thing sells out, man. But you know how many people showed up to the first one? Less than 150.
Right.
And now this thing,
Oh yeah.
once again, it goes to show, man, what we talked about earlier in the podcast, is how this thing has become mainstream now.
Exactly.
You know, how this thing has turned into such a bigger thing that it was ever really
Right.
probably meant to be. You know,
Right.
sometimes I wonder if it outgrew itself.
Exactly. Sometimes I believe it did.
Yes.
You know.
But like I said, man, it has just been a tremendous day yesterday. It's just a tremendous thing to be a part of.
You know, going from you know, the I want to say the straight up just comics. From that, another one is animation.
Yes, anime. Yes. Are you talking about anime or just animation in general?
Well, right now I'm going to talk about animation.
Okay.
As far as you know, older animation, modern animation. You know, a lot of shows like The Simpsons are still going.
Right.
Family Guy.
Right.
Bob's Burgers. you
Right.
know, anything like that. I watch more animation, I think, than regular shows.
Well, you know,
for sure.
speaking of animation, man, I've heard a rumor, and I don't know if this is true or not. It seems like I read an article. I think they're actually, in my opinion, bringing back, and once again, this is just my opinion, the best animated show of all time, and that's Batman, the animated series. It seems like I've heard they're coming back with that. because DC's about to start their own streaming service,
Right.
and I believe they're going to make a comeback with that. Now, brother, I know they're at least going
I
to
know
release.
they've
them.
done like you're talking about they're releasing the old animated series.
I thought that they were going to do a new one.
Oh,
but I don't know.
Brand new.
No,
I know they've
Puds-
done like in between, stuff like Batman Bold and the Brave.
Yeah,
stuff
it's not.
Like
it's
that.
not the same.
Yeah.
You know, those are okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've watched a few of them, but man, that original Batman animated series.
From the 90s on.
Yes.
That was Warner Brothers. Yes.
Yes.
Warner Brothers.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the greatest animated shows, and you know,
Yeah.
Mike, that
It was.
you make a good point, man. I watch a lot of animation too, like South Park. You know, I'm
Yes.
still a South Park fan. Yeah, man. I mean, anime. You know, especially when we were growing up, Mike. If you watched a cartoon in your adulthood, you know, you were kind of made fun of a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why are you still watching cartoons?
That's for kids.
Why?
That's a kids show.
Yeah.
You know, then the Simpsons kind of turned that on its head.
Yes.
You know, then South Park. Well, Beavis and Butthead. You know,
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead was maybe.
Cannot forget about
No.
Beavis and Butthead.
How could you?
Exactly.
Man. You know, I love Beavis and
It
Butthead.
still kills me.
Oh, I watched it about 2 weeks ago. I put in some old videos that
And
I had.
The stuff they do still just floors me,
hilarious.
kills me. Hilarious.
It doesn't lose its funniness over time, man.
No,
it's
no.
still timeless,
that
man.
probably says something about us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where our humor levels are.
We're 43 and we're still laughing at fart jokes. I'm sorry, man. You fart and I'm laughing. I mean, that's the best humor. Man, I actually let one at work the other week, and I started laughing myself, man. That son of a bitch changed pitches, man. It went from a low end pitch up to a high end, and I started laughing.
My
But
3-year-old.
that's just me, man.
My 3-year-old just farted the other night, and I give her the straight man look too. I just give her that dead stare until she looks at me, and she just laughs. So I'm just looking at her
It's
dead
funny.
pan straight.
It's funny.
Just to give her the laugh, and it's like, oh, excuse me.
But you're right, man.
You're all right over there?
You gonna make it?
Yeah.
But I think you're right, man. But you know, dude, I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
I take that as a badge of honor, man.
Yeah.
Because the day that I start finding humor like Beavis and Butthead no longer funny, then I know I've made a wrong choice somewhere.
Right.
You know, I've allowed myself to get old.
Well, let me
You
ask
know.
you this: is there anything out there that you just don't get, as far as modern animation, not funny?
Man, some. I'm a little strange with my entertainment. There's certain like comedies, for instance. You
Mhm.
know, I'm not a sitcom guy. Now, obviously, I'm not talking just strictly of animation.
Right.
You know, I did like The Office. The Office is probably one of the last live action comedic shows that I enjoyed.
Well, see, that's another pop culture thing.
Oh yeah, man, I love The Office.
You're an Office guy,
Yeah, I love The Office. Yeah.
and I'm a Parks and Recs guy.
Which I still need to catch up on that.
Yeah.
I've not watched that yet. But you know, as far as animation, now, dude, I don't get anime. I've tried
Alright.
watching anime. I've tried watching a few different ones. Ninja Scroll was one of the first ones I ever watched. Man, that was back in the '90s.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I thought it was innovative. I thought it was different. You know, but I never got into it as well. I tried watching some other animes. Kill Go 13. I tried watching because I was a huge fan of the video game.
Mhm.
But what little bit I've tried watching, man,
Family Guy.
I like Family Guy. Family Guy goes up and down with me, though.
I cannot.
Really?
I cannot
Really?
stomach Family Guy anymore.
I like it, but man, I haven't watched it in years.
Is the episode of flashbacks?
Yeah, and the humor does get a little redundant.
Right.
I would say I like the earlier seasons. Now, man, I would say from the first to maybe sixth season, I loved it. But after a while, man, it got redundant to me.
Cleveland Show.
Did not like it,
I
man.
love the Cleveland
Really,
Show.
really. I did not. I could not get into
I
it,
really
man.
love the Cleveland
I like
Show.
the kid though. I like the baby,
Yeah,
man. He was
Rollo.
cool. Rollo, yeah,
Rollo.
Rollo, man. He was funny. What about American Dad?
I liked
it.
American Dad.
I like-
that was a little more okay.
'Cause I like-
because it's poking fun at.
The political
Yeah.
stuff, and I liked that,
Yeah.
man. And I also liked how they made the real conservative stand. You know, not that bad. You know, because sometimes you can have a little negative turn on
Uh-huh.
certain political ideologies in Hollywood and stuff. And I like how they made them lovable. You know, little.
Yeah.
You know, I think like a lot of people are in real life, man. They mean well. You know, but
Right.
maybe they have different ideas. Of
But
things.
isn't
But I
that the
like it.
trend in animation in animated series? Isn't that the trend though? The dad has to be lovable but stupid.
Stupid like Homer,
Homer.
Randy Marsh.
Randy Marsh.
Who's probably one of my
Peter
favorite
Griffin.
characters. Peter, absolutely, man.
Cleveland Brown.
Yes.
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah,
Bob.
Bob, yeah. And I think it goes back to Homer. Really,
Yeah, exactly. The original.
Because that shows.
Or even going as far back as the Flintstones.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, man. George Jetson as well, man.
Yeah.
That you're right. There's that common theme of a lovable but kinda stupid father, you know, and usually the wife or mother are the ones that are sensible,
right?
Kind of like in real life.
Yeah,
it's really very close to real life, man.
It's not.
Depends on your life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
no, I did. I like that, and like I said, Bob's Burgers. I love Bob's Burgers.
Right. I'm not a fan, man. I've tried it a few times. It's not my humor. It's just not my thing.
I know, and that's a lot of the mainstream animated series. Then you're gonna go off into like the Adult Swim stuff.
Oh yeah, right.
With like Archer and
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty,
which is pretty good, man. And what little bit I've watched of that show, I have enjoyed it, and I do see why people like this show.
Right.
I need to go in and get a little deeper into it. But what I've seen about 4 episodes. Really enjoyed it.
Right.
Really did like them, man. They were hilarious. Adult,
Oh, yeah,
like
sure.
most are.
Yeah.
Which Mike, that's something else, man. What we were talking about when we were younger, or young men. You're watching a cartoon. You must still be a kid. Why don't you grow up?
Right.
We've also noticed or seen animation, really starting with Beavis and Butthead. Well, you can even maybe go back to The Simpsons to a certain degree, but I think definitely with Beavis and Butthead, and absolutely with South Park, you see a more mature.
Right.
Subject matters and themes and things of this nature in our animation as well.
Well, what about another early one? Heavy Metal.
Oh man,
holy
brother,
crap!
Whoa, I had no idea. When I first watched that movie, I thought it was going to be about heavy metal bands. I saw the soundtrack had like Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult, Sandy Hagar.
Yeah.
Just all these great, bands I love, and I was just getting into music at this time as well. I was still a kid, so I stayed up till like 2 a.m. It came on HBO or one of those stations. I was one of the fortunate few that had cable out my way. And I stayed up, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Man, there were like titties, man.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Cartoon titties, man. I was just like,
what?
I was blown away. But it's cool.
What the heck? What the heck? Yeah.
It was cool stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Talk about R-rated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, you can even go back, maybe talk about like Felix the Cat and stuff like that, which got pretty crazy stuff, and these are like the forefathers of like Beavis and Butthead, and South Park, man. I really go to South Park because I've always been a fan.
Yeah,
I tend to go up and down with South Park. I go in phases. I think they go in phases as well.
Yeah.
I think their quality can drop.
Kind of how preachy they get.
They can get very preachy, man. And they actually had an episode where they acknowledged that.
Right.
So they do preach a little bit, but they also can look in the mirror as well. And I think South Park is that one in a lifetime show that stays relevant, it stays funny, and it's truly a timeless classic, man. Just like The Simpsons, I'll put, even though I'm not a fan of Bob's Burgers, what I've seen, I can see why people do like it. I think that's going to go down. I think Family Guy will go down, as one of these timeless animated shows, But yeah, South Park to me, it may not have been the one to start it, but to me, South Park was the one to take it and just run with it.
Yeah.
Man. They may have not been the innovators, but they were definitely the ones who brought it to another level.
Yeah. Well, they brought shit on the
the word of curse.
Yeah, the word of curse.
They actually had the timer that was going on, man. That was unheard of. Man, you hear shit on the TV now like it's no big deal.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Man, I'm hearing that in like prime time.
Yeah.
Brother, and I know we're supposed to be talking Comic-Con, but obviously since it's such a wide subject, man, we can really start going in all kinds of different directions. But man, I've seen some television shows that come on like FX, like Sons of Anarchy and Breaking Bad, two of my favorite TV shows.
Which have big cult followings.
Huge. These shows.
Just like The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead's another one, man. There was Walking Dead merchandise at the Comic-Con yesterday. Yes, man. We forgot to talk television shows when we were talking about the movies, the horror, video games, anime. Fantasy, science fiction.
Shows like that. Shows like Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Another one, man. that
Huge
have
cult
these cult,
following.
yes, that get a lot of attention at these Comic Cons.
Yeah.
But man, what I was going to say is especially Sons of Anarchy, brother. There's been episodes. Did you ever watch the show? It's a great.
I saw here and there.
It's in my opinion, man, it's a great show. But brother, I saw some stuff on that show.
Oh yeah.
This should have been rated R.
Right.
Like in the theater when we were kids, and now this is on regular. Now, granted, it's cable television, but it's not on HBO. It's not on a premium service, man. It's on FX.
Right.
And I mean, they're dropping F-bombs. I mean, they're showing. Man, not full blown nudity, but they push it as far as you can push it. And I'm just thinking, wow, man, how crazy it is where we're at with that kind of entertainment society. I mean, I'm not complaining, man, and obviously it's on at a later hour where kids maybe won't be as exposed to it, So parents still do have a little bit of a buffer there, But it's just kind of just showing how culture has kind of got more mature.
Another huge one, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, man. No, best show ever in my opinion.
That was huge.
Yes, man. They just celebrated their 10-year anniversary.
That's amazing.
It is. It makes me feel old. Now granted, it was on for 8 seasons? I think 7 or 8,
probably
something like that. I can't remember. I love the show, and I can't tell how many seasons it runs.
It just feels like it was just
yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, for real, man. It sure as hell doesn't feel like a decade ago. Yeah. But man, that's a good segue just back into the Comic-Con culture itself, man. It's all encompassing.
Older TV shows, like Knight Rider.
Oh,
A-Team.
Yeah. A-Team, bro. How did we not bring up the A-Team yet? Which Chris Eisenberg, I know we brought you up a few times today. We discussed it yesterday. He's definitely wanting to come on. He's definitely wanting to do this thing. And I know we're probably getting close to wrapping up here in a little bit, so I want to go ahead and send a shout out to the Fellowship of the Ring, Mike. Before I forget, I forgot them last week. In fact, you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, the Millennium Wrestling Federation will be having their next show July 29th, located at 508 Howards Creek School Road, located right here in Lincolnton, North Carolina. Once again, MWF-Live. You can find them on Facebook. So I want to get that out, man. I want to get that out to my boys down there.
Rancho, man, they were
full gear.
Full gear, man.
So once again, professional wrestling is also a part.
Absolutely, it is.
Of Comic-Con culture,
Absolutely.
Man. And these guys, if you've not looked them up, once again, man, I'll add some links on this thing. They have these little vignettes. I'm actually a cameo in one of them. And they're doing real cool, man. They're promoting us as well. I talked to Chris Solar yesterday, man. We're going to start trying to promote each other and keep each other, relevant in our individual broadcasts and our individual projects that we're doing. And man, if you get a chance, guys, check them out. The humor is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
It's so silly. It's funny. It's funny, man. But they are just so out there. You have to see it. You have to just see it. And if you haven't been to the MWF in a while, go back, check them out again, man. I've always said, if you, especially if you have kids, what better way to get the kids out of the house to have a good time? It's inexpensive. Mike, here's the thing, man. People will take their kids to a movie. And these kids are going to want to run around, man. They're going to want to scream. They're going to want to talk. They're going to want to laugh. You can't do that at a movie. Not even talking about how much money you're going to drop at a movie theater, man. You get a couple kids in, man. You give them some popcorn, bro. You dropping $20, $30, $40 easily, man. And that's on the low end, bro. Or you can take them up here to the Millennium Wrestling Federation, man. Let them run around. Let them yell.
Yeah.
Let them get all that energy out, man. Save some money. God almighty, man. They are so family friendly. They do it on a budget, man. They don't make no money either. You know what I'm saying, man? They ain't doing it for that, man.
Yeah.
Take your kids, man. Go if you haven't been in a while. Go back, check them back out, man. They're constantly bringing people in. They're constantly improving their work, man. They're constantly, just striving, man, to be the best they can be. Give them a chance, man. If you ain't been, go back. Yeah. If you need a good family-oriented entertainment venue, go there, man. Take your kids. Your kids will love it, man. They'll eat it up, man. Yeah. Especially when you got the Fellowship of the Ring. Man,
my
these
God,
guys are hilarious,
yeah.
man.
And we've been, we've both been at a lot of their videos.
Yes.
YouTube videos.
Yes.
So we pretty well hijacked them to where, it's like, hey, well, listen, guys.
You're going to put over the podcast.
Yeah.
We've
done enough of yours. It's time for you to come on and do this one.
Yeah, start. And I would love to see those guys do their own podcast or podcast.
Yeah.
There's only one podcast.
Well, only one podcast.
But
they're PUDs.
They are PUDs, man.
They
definitely fit the description, man. But going back to what we talked about last week, Mike, man, there's enough ears out there do your own thing. You know what,
Absolutely.
Mike? I don't want to. I'm not going to call the man out by name, but a friend of mine just so happened last Sunday after we did our podcast was talking about doing his own podcast.
Yes.
And so I hit him up, on his Facebook. I'm like, do it, brother, do it. He hits me up and he's like, hey, what all goes into this thing? And Mike, I got to be honest with you, brother. I know we kind of put it over. It's like, oh, it's easy peasy, nothing to it. Well, I started writing out all the steps, and I'm like, well, you know what, man? Maybe there is a little bit more to it,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like any hobby, man. It's
Yeah.
going to take a little, you got to spend a little bit of money. You got to get a little bit of equipment, man. It's going to be a little, some weeks are going to be better than others. You're going to have to experiment. You're going to have to fail a little bit, to succeed. But my best advice is just get it down. Man.
Yeah.
Just record it.
Yeah.
Then we can figure out everything else, man. Just get that son of a bitch on a hard drive or something. Then you can start figuring out how to get it up for everybody to hear it. But that made me feel good, Mike.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's man, his idea. Like I said, I don't want to
Yeah.
call him out. I don't put no, because his situation's a lot different than ours, man. The partner he wants actually lives far away, so it'd be like a long distance type thing.
And I imagine that would be tough.
That's what I even told him. I said, look, brother, that's way outside my experience. Me and Mike are in the same room. We have one mic.
Right.
But
it can be done.
It can be done.
I know.
It can be done.
Because Cornette's podcast, I know him and Brian Last are not in the same room every week.
Right.
So it's a long distance, because the same with Pritchard and Conrad.
Yes.
They're definitely not in the same room at the same time, but they make it work.
But you can make it work, But as far as us giving advice, man, we may not be the best people.
But it's out there.
It's out there, man.
There are.
And like I said, once you get it on tape, quote unquote tape, hard drive, whatnot, then hit me up, man, and I can help you get it on. Because man, it was a little bit of a chore finding a hosting site that's for free and unlimited. It's podcast.com. Anybody out there listening, it's podcast.com. It's free. It's unlimited. Thank God for them. I want to put their website over. But yeah, guys, like I said, man, Mike, just to kind of start wrapping this thing up. Once again, it was a tremendous day yesterday.
It was. It really was.
You guys, everyone involved with making this thing happen, you and everyone else, man, deserves a huge pat on the back, man. You deserve just so much appreciation for what you guys do.
And I know, Becky Revis, Billy Marsh, Amanda Moore, Dante Patterson. I mean, just
shout out
so many people that without it, it just wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't be
here. I mean,
and to everyone you just named, from me, Jason Finger, a citizen, just a patron, if you will. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Mikey just mentioned, and you as well, man. Thank you, guys. And I can't wait for the next one, brother. I mean, I'm literally over here like I'm ready. Is there a date yet, man? Have you guys got anything?
We're throwing around a date.
Okay.
It'll probably be around the same time.
Okay.
As long as everything falls into place.
Sure.
With booking and everything, but you're looking at the same time.
Mid-July, give or take.
Around mid in July. Yeah.
Well, brother, I cannot wait, man. And once again, brother, I appreciate this so much, Mike. I look forward to this every week. I hope the people out there listening have enjoyed it. Like I said,
especially Wayne Sisk.
Oh man, how did we go without talking about Wayne? Shout out to Wayne Sisk. He's Wayne Sisk. If you're listening, brother, you are coming up here, man. We were getting your ass in the Pud Cave.
Oh, see, there you go. There's that Wayne. I know, music nerd.
Huge, man. This man has turned me on to such good music.
Yeah.
I miss Wayne, brother.
Yeah.
We've had some conversations. I went to my first Warren Zevon concert with Wayne Sisk. He's just turned me on to such great music. Jackson Brown is another one he turned. The Flamborito Brothers is another one he turned me on to. I already knew of the Almond Brothers, but he turned me on to some deep cuts that really got me turned on to him. I mean, just Wayne's a great guy, man. He's just a super cool guy, super knowledgeable. I mean, this guy is a walking musical encyclopedia, and I can't wait to get him on here, man. Yeah. There's some other people that have expressed interest as well. I have a couple friends we got to discuss, man, about when we can get them on. But, Mike, I think for our first non-pro wrestling podcast, man, I think it went very well today.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it a lot. It was kind of that after the event, after, the past few days of getting everything, situated and everything going, and this was a good release for everything.
Yes.
This was almost like that calming zen after everything.
It's almost like a meditation or something, man, that you can just get all of it out now, man. It's in the history books, and then, my God,
Now next week we're back to wrestling.
Yes. No, we don't have a subject yet. We usually
we got several subjects.
Oh yeah, we just haven't picked one yet.
We just haven't picked one out that we're definitely going with yet. But yeah,
that's coming up. And that's one thing I love about the podcast, Mike. Usually we figure it out about on Wednesday or Thursday. Usually what we're going to talk about on Sunday, give or take. You know, and I love that, man, because it's just. Man, we have a little prep going in this thing, but we're trying to just do it off the cuff, man. Basically, we just want to do a conversation, and if you guys love it or like it, love, man, I'm trying to really put it over here. But if you really like it, then man, it's even better. And I've said in the past, well, I don't care if anybody likes it or not, and I did it at first. At first, I don't care, man. If we got 5 people listening, cool. If we got 2 people, me and you, fine, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
But man, we've leveled out to about 50 as of right now. I was kind of looking at some of our numbers. We're looking around 50 listeners.
Yeah.
And now I do care a little bit, and like I said, the profanity's trying to, because I want to post this particular podcast on the Lincoln County, you may be from Lincoln, Facebook site.
Okay.
I'm thinking people may, because some people may not want to hear about the pro wrestling.
Right.
I don't know why you want it, people, but whatever, man,
Yeah.
nobody's perfect. But I'm thinking that maybe this may hit a different audience,
Exactly.
We may see more people, we may see less people listening. Who knows, man, but it's all about getting it out there and doing something we like and something we enjoy, and I think that's really about all I got to say about it, bro.
Awesome.
All right, well, I guess, man, if there's nothing else, Mike, I guess we're going to start wrapping it up.
Absolutely,
All right.
man.
Well, until next week, Puds, thank you guys for listening. Mikey, once again, thank you and everybody else involved in Comic Con 2018. Be a hero. Comic Con was a success. I cannot wait to next year. And until next week, same Pud time, same Pud channel.
Puds are out.
And not only that, David, I understand we're right at the end of our program.
No. We have got to go.
This has been a great event.
There's some people out there that hate us for this.